Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to England for the first time in what feels like quite a while actually, and we're going to return to a brewery who have featured on the channel a good number of times before, but this is my first review from them in about 2 years. It's been such a long time since I've tried one of their beers, but they're a very highly rated brewery, and I tried a good number of their beers when I was in Durham a few years back, and I had a great time reviewing some of these, so nice to return to them after such a long time, like I said. So for this review then, we are going to go to Manchester and we're having a look at another beer from Cloudwater Brewing Company. So this one is part of their new core range from what I understand. It's simply called IPA. It comes in at 6% ABV and it's a New England hazy style IPA, this one. So yeah, as I say, really curious to see how this one turns out. This is a style that this brewery are very well known for, of course. They are known as a kind of hazy New England style IPA brewery, but in recent times they have been diversifying a little bit and producing, you know, more imperial stouts and other things as well. So yeah, definitely a brewery that I want to go back to, and hopefully when I do my little England tour at some point in some point next year, hopefully, I can go and visit Cloudwater again and do a bit of filming and things for you there. That's definitely one of the things I really want to do. But yeah, looking forward to trying this one, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Since this is an English beer, a big shout out to all my English friends in the beer tubing scene. We've got Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews, we've got Craig at Kent Beer Reviews, Jake O Beer as well, we have Adam at Mersey Beers, we've got Rob Hopsine, Stuart Pickard, the Ginger Ale Ale Trail, we've got Christoph as well, Ale Degustations, you know, there's Beardy Brett's Beer Reviews, there's loads of other guys starting up in England these days as well. So yeah, lots of English beer tubers for you to choose from. Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews as well, so go and check out these guys and they will keep you up to date with the English craft beer scene. I don't get too many English beers over here, but we get a lot of collaborations involving different English breweries like Wylam and Deya and all of these guys as well. But there's some great craft beer in England these days, and the English beer tubers will keep you up to date with that. So make sure you go and show them some love and check out their channels as well. Some really great guys over there. You'll see me on live streams with them. They do come on the live streams here on the channel as well, so you can check those out too. But yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Cloudwater Brewing Company before. If you want to see more, can check out that list there, and hopefully we can add more to that in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you happen to be interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Cloudwater Brewing Company then, on to my brewery notes. So Cloudwater Brewing Company, as I've told you before, were founded back in 2015 by Paul Jones and James Campbell after the latter left Marble Brewing Company, who also do some very nice beers, by the way. But they were also joined by Al Wall and Will Franz, who had a wealth of experience in home brewing, professional brewing, and also in bar management as well. But the company leased an archway, which allowed them to age and sour many of their beers at up to 200 barrels at a time, which is pretty impressive. I have been to where they actually age a number of the beers. They've got a little bar in there too, which is pretty cool. But they began brewing their beers in March of 2015 in Manchester, and they officially opened the brew pub in early April. But they started off with a 2,400 litre brew kit, but they do have enough floor space in their brewing premises to double this and even, you know, triple the capacity, and I think they have expanded over the last little while as well. I was trying to find more information on Cloudwater, but it was a little bit difficult, so I think for the next Cloudwater review we will see about getting an updated figure on their brewing capacity. But I know they still have a 2,400 litre kit, but I'm not sure exactly how much they are brewing per year these days. But they are looking to expand at the moment, and they apparently are looking for new premises to make a bigger brewery and things like that. But currently they have the Unit 9 tap room in Manchester, And they've also got the 73 Enid Street tap room down in London as well. But in early 2018, these guys were rated the second best brewery in the world by Rate Beer, which is a pretty impressive feat when you consider how dominated it is by Americans, basically. So for an English brewery to get #2 in the world was pretty damn impressive. And they've been consistently ranked amongst the best breweries in the world since then, of course, as well. But the current head brewer is Al Wall, and as of June 2020, these guys have produced 120 different kinds of beers according to Untappd. So yeah, a very, very well respected English craft brewery, this one. Probably one of the better known English craft beer names in international circles. There's a load of very good English craft breweries these days. You know, you've got the likes of you've got the likes of Wylam, you've got Dea, who else? You know, there's so many. Pomona Island are getting a lot of plaudits these days. You've got Track, you've got Marble. In London, you've got the likes of Kernel, Weirdbeard. You know, there's so many good English craft brews these days. It really is very hard to kind of keep track of what's going on. Neon Raptor, North Brewing Company. You know, pretty much every city has some very, very good craft beers these days. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Cloudwater Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn more about them, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all of the different beers that they've done. I actually would have thought it would have been more than 120 beers that these guys have produced. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see the Cloudwater symbol, which is very nice. You know, that's been the same symbol since day one. But yeah, this one is a 440ml can. This one, it gives you a few tasting notes and stuff on the side, but you know, we're going to ignore that because we want it to be an original review, of course. But yeah, it's 6% New England Hazy IPA, this one, and from what I gather, this one is supposed to be part of a new core range of, like, there is a West Coast IPA as well, which I would love to try because this brewery are really more known for the hazy New England, so I'd love to see what their West Coast IPA is like. And they've got a few lagers and things like that as well. I don't know if I've ever had an Imperial Stout from Cloudwater. I don't think I have, in fairness, so I will need to try and get that sorted at some point as well. I need to try. I always like trying different styles from breweries that are well known for certain things. So I want to try some of the Imperial Stouts from Cloudwater over the next little while. But yeah, definitely something we will go back. I will go back to the Cloudwater bar and see about doing some out and about filming for you when we're there. But yeah, it says on the back here, juicy, soft and bursting with tropical fruit flavours, this hazy IPA showcases a blend of bold hops and aromatic yeast against a big body from high protein malts, replicating the sumptuous smooth mouthfeel of ripe mango. It finishes with a low bitterness to let the hop aromas and flavours linger on your palate. So yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll see how we get on. Curious to see what this beer has in store for us. So yeah, I paid 50 Swedish crowns for this one, I think, or no, sorry, 55. Sure, I paid 55 for this one. So yeah, a little bit more pricey than you'd pay for the likes of a Stigberget or an OO Brewing. Normally you would pay between 45 and 50 for those beers. So yeah, because it's an import, it will cost you about 10 crowns more. But yeah, you know, you'll, in any country, if you're buying import beers, it will cost you a little bit more, of course. But Systembolaget, you know, when you think about that, this beer is from one of the kind of premier English craft breweries, and you're paying 55 crowns for it, which is like £4.75 or something like that. You know, I think that's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. But yeah, good prices, beer socialism, that's one of the great things about Systembolaget. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, and as you'd expect from a hazy IPA, this one is poured a fairly kind of bright yellow colour. You can see there's a solid half finger of a frothy perfect white head on that one. It doesn't even look creamy, it is perfect white, I would say. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head there, but overall it does look pretty nice. If I shine the light through this one, I would say that this one is more a richer yellow than a kind of paler yellow. Some of the New England IPAs you can get, particularly the ones I've had from Amundsen in Norway recently, have been very, very pale, so it's cool to see one that's a little bit more kind of richer and things. Although that said, the colour of the beer isn't the most important thing, of course, it's how it actually tastes. But yeah, a really nice looking beer, this one. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma and see how we got on. Nothing overly surprising about this beer when you consider what type it is. A New England IPA, as I say, coming in at 6% ABV. And that does smell really quite nice. So yeah, straight away with this one, you're getting some of that lovely kind of hoppy aroma out of it. And the malt base in this one, as I've told you before, I'm a bit of a sucker for a good malt base in a beer. This one smells incredibly well balanced actually. You're getting some of the oaty creaminess that you want, but you're also getting a little bit more of that kind of bitey, wheaty sort of thing. As I've told you with the American reviews that I've done, the likes of Treehouse, you know, their beers are a little bit more, you know, the Treehouse beers are definitely more on the kind of creamy, oaty side of things, whereas the Trillium ones are a bit more wheaty and bitey. The Alchemist beers are obviously a little bit more, the Alchemist beers are a little bit more kind of farmhousey and things. So yeah, it's definitely worth bearing that in mind when it comes to these New England IPAs. This one definitely strikes me as being very well balanced in the aroma. A good bit of the wheaty bitiness and a good little bit more of the a good little bit of the kind of oaty creaminess in there as well. So I like how that kind of goes together. I always remember the Cloudwater ones being a little bit more kind of creamy compared to some of the other breweries, like the likes of Wylam, for example. I always found Wylam were a bit more wheaty and bitey, although they've changed a little bit recently, I would say. But yeah, the aroma in the malt base here is very nice. You've got that creamy oaty thing that you expect. You've got a nice little bit of a kind of wheaty bitey quality, and you've also got a wee bit of you've got a little bit of a kind of biscuity note to this one too, which is quite nice. There is a wee bit of that almost McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing there. But yeah, the malt base in these New England IPAs is usually pretty kind of straightforward. Wheat, oat, and then a little bit of a kind of biscuity quality. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, on the green side of the hops, it definitely leans towards the nice big kind of floral aromatic side of things. It's not overly spicy. You do get a bit of the lighter grassiness out of it as well, and there's a wee kind of touch of earthiness to this one. But yeah, it is very, very soft and very kind of tropical in its fruity aroma as well, like the can was saying. So let's see what fruits we can actually pick out in this one. So yeah, this one to me, it is very, very soft in its tropical fruit things. If we want to play guess the hops with this one, I would guess that this one maybe has something along the lines of like Victoria's Secret or Simcoe. You know, Simcoe gives you that very soft kind of passion fruity note, and you definitely get a bit of that out of this one, because passion fruit normally is very kind of strong and pungent. If you had a hop like Galaxy, for example, it would give you a huge kind of big pungent passion fruity note, but I think this one's more likely to be that kind of softer Simcoe. Victoria's Secret, from what I remember, can give you a good little bit of softness as well. You do have other hops like El Dorado, Idaho 7's another one, but I think Idaho 7's a little bit more complex, I think, compared to what's in this. So I'm not sure about Idaho 7, because there is a wee bit of a sort of pineapple-y note coming out of this one, but it is your very soft kind of tropical fruits there. As I say, you've got a softer kind of passion fruity note to this one. You get a bit of that apricot-y papaya type thing in there, a little bit of pineapple, I would say, as well. Yeah, I think it's a very soft, tropical leaning IPA, this one. They say mango on the can. I can definitely see why they would say mango, in fairness. But yeah, for me, there's a bit of the darker kind of passion fruity note, although in fairness, compared to other passion fruity beers, it is quite, it is a bit lighter and a bit more juicy. There's apricots, as I say, there's a wee bit of a kind of papaya note to it, a bit of pineapple, and yeah, the mangoes that they were talking about. So definitely very kind of soft, tropical, fruity leaning New England one. This, I don't really get any orangey citrus out of it. There's maybe a wee bit of a kind of lemony zest or something. There could be a wee touch of Centennial or something like that in this one. You do get a little bit of that kind of citrusy, zesty quality mixing in with the grassy part of the beer. So I like how that, I do like how this one goes together. It gets a thumbs up from me in terms of the aroma. This, it's very, very soft. I'd say overall it's a very kind of soft, quite not too punchy in terms of its aroma. Yeah, soft, good little bit of floral aromaticity, but not too pungent. As I say, nice balance between the kind of wheat and the oaty side of things, and then you've got those lovely kind of softer tropical fruits coming out of this one. So definitely take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma before you get stuck into this one, but we're going to have a taste of it now and see how we get on. So this one is simply called IPA, a New England IPA, coming in at 6% ABV from Cloudwater Brewing Company in Manchester in England. Let's get stuck into this one. Sláinte, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It's very light and very drinkable, this one. What I would say about this in comparison to some of the other Cloudwater ones that I've had, this one definitely strikes me as one of the lighter and more drinkable ones. It's definitely not the thickest and creamiest of New England IPAs that I've had, but it comes across quite differently in the flavour to what it does in the aroma. It's got a good bit of breadiness to it. There is a bit of that kind of thicker oaty creaminess to the beer, a little bit further forward on the palate as well. But compared to the other Cloudwater ones, I don't find this one quite as pungent and as bitey as I had with some of the other ones. As I always said to you though, Cloudwater's beers did tend to lean a little bit more towards the kind of creamier side of things, but they always did have a little bit of bite at the back of the tongue from what I remember, and I don't really get so much of that out of this one, so that's kind of interesting. But it is a good beer, it is a solid beer, but I will say straight away, this is not the most kind of this isn't the best one I've had from Cloudwater. It's not the kind of the most kind of striking beer I've had from them, I would say. I would definitely say that about this one. Again, it is pretty nicely done. So yeah, if this is a kind of core, I can see why this one's a kind of core type New England IPA, this one. And it's absolutely solid, you know, it is absolutely solid. I'm not sure, I'm sure there was talk actually, I'm sure one of the guys in the group chat on Facebook said that there were Cloudwater beers going into the supermarkets or something like this. This strikes me as the sort of one that would be kind of released in the supermarkets. If you compare this to, as I say, the other Cloudwater beers, this isn't the biggest and boldest one you're going to get from them. It is one of the more kind of sessionable, more drinkable ones. So yeah, I could see this would be the sort of beer that I think that would be released in the supermarkets in England. The supermarket range that we've got in the likes of Tesco's and stuff now is really pretty impressive actually when you look at it. So I do wonder if this one is one of the ones that's penned in for supermarket release. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one then. But I will say, it is pretty damn solid this, but definitely not the boldest and beastliest of beers that I've had from Cloudwater. But yeah, let's break this one down then. So straight away across the middle of the palate, you've got that kind of that sort of white bready kind of pale malty quality. You can feel that kind of going right across the middle of your palate there. As you go towards the back third of your tongue, you do get a little bit more of a kind of wheaty bitiness out of it. I'm finding that that's building the further that you go into the aftertaste with this beer, but the middle of my palate really strikes me as being quite pale malty, a little bit of a grainy sort of white bready kind of thing going on in there. As you move towards the kind of front of that middle third of your tongue, it's got a little bit more of a kind of oaty creaminess to it, which is nice. And as you go into the very centre of the tongue, in the middle of that kind of middle third of your palate, if you like, you do get a wee touch of biscuitiness out of this one. But this is it really is quite a bready and kind of smooth hazy New England sort of thing that I get out of this one. So I like how that goes together. Yeah. It is, as I say, it's pretty solid. It is growing on me the more that I drink of it actually. I do like how this one, it kind of grows. I think this one gets a little bit juicier, it gets a little bit hoppier, it gets a little bit bitier. Whereas when you first take it in, it is kind of just, it strikes you as very smooth and very kind of pale malty and bready, to be honest. But I think the other qualities that this beer has do start to build a little bit the more that you drink of it. So yeah, I like how that goes together in this one. So yeah, I like it. It gets a thumbs up from me, this one. I'll still stick to that statement though and say this is not the biggest and boldest of things you're going to get from Cloudwater, but as a core range beer, I think it does the job. It definitely does the job. In terms of the hoppy side of things then, I think we've covered the malt base really what we need to. The malt base is pretty much straight up on this one. But yeah, if you go to the back corners of the palate, you do get a little bit of earthiness there. Very quickly it kind of becomes quite a spicy, floral aromatic sort of thing. But as you move further forward on the sides of the tongue, the sort of spiciness fades away a little bit. It still remains a little bit more floral on the front corners of the palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy in my mind. So I like how that all goes together in this one. So yeah, the hoppiness, yeah, in the front part of your palate, it is a little bit lighter and things. This one, it does actually feel a little bit dusty. I'm wondering if it has been dry hopped. Yeah, it doesn't say actually whether it's been dry hopped or not, but just there's something in the mouthfeel here. The thing is with the dry hopped beers, they always feel a little bit dusty around the edge of the palate, and you notice it. I think you do notice it a good bit more in New England IPAs than you do in West Coast IPAs, at least from what I remember. This one does have a little bit of that kind of dusty feel from that you sometimes get with dry hopping. So maybe I should have left this one a little bit longer in the can, but it is in good condition. It is in pretty good condition, but I would think with it being an import beer, it's probably sat in the warehouse around at least 2 weeks, I would think. But it does still have a little bit of a kind of dusty, dry hopping type quality to it, which is nice. It gives the beer just a little touch more bitterness, to be honest with you, which I do like. Behind the front curve of the palate though, on the front third of the tongue, as I always say, that's where you get the kind of oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters emerge out of the beer. And it's actually quite similar to how I described it in the aroma. So yeah, if you go towards the kind of, back of that front third of your palate, you get a little bit of the darker passion fruit. It does have a wee bit of pungency, which I would say. So it does have a little bit of that kind of coming out of it. As you move further forward, you definitely get a bit of the mango that they're talking about on the can. And then as you move further forward from that, you do get the kind of softer, tropically fruit notes out of this one. You start to get a little bit of papaya, apricot-y sort of thing. You do get a little bit of a pineapple-y quality in there as well. I find that for me there's quite a bit of papaya almost in this one. It does feel very light and sort of papaya-like, to be honest with you, and that kind of pushes right forward onto the tongue there. There's a bit of there is a little, I think, actually, in fairness, I've said apricot. I don't really think there is apricot in this one. For me, it's papaya, bit of pineapple, mango a little bit further back, and then you get the more pungent passion fruit. For me, that's the main makeup of the fruity side of this beer, actually. So it is very kind of, this beer, and that sort of mixes in well with the kind of breadiness that the beer has, the sort of papaya type fruit. To me, it's quite papaya, pineapple-y, and then you've got a little bit of the more the bigger mango and the kind of more pungent, the more kind of pungent, what do you call it? Passion fruit. Brain went dead there thinking of that fruit. Yeah. But yeah, I like how this one goes together. As I say, it gets a thumbs up from me. It is a solid beer, this one. As a core beer, like I say, it's a pretty solid offering, but this is by no means the kind of biggest and boldest thing you're going to get from Cloudwater. So yeah, bear that in mind when you try this one. It's a good beer, and it is solid, it does the job, but you will find more striking beers from this brewery, I guess you could say. But yeah, thumbs up to Cloudwater, and it's nice to see these guys over here. I do hope we get the West Coast IPA. I'd like to have a go at that one and review that for you. But yeah, nice to see them over here, and hopefully I can pick up a few Cloudwaters over the water in Copenhagen, because the border is going to open in a couple of days, and I'm excited for that. So yeah, very excited for that. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, this beer's pretty mid-bodied. Yep, quite mid-bodied. The carbonation for me is quite smooth. It does strike me as generally quite a smooth beer, but there is a little touch of oiliness to the mouthfeel as well, and a little bit of wetness, which I think does kind of suit it a little bit. In terms of hoppy bitterness and things, I would say this beer, I think it's your kind of standard 30 IBUs, to be honest with you. The malt base, as I said earlier, is quite smooth. There's not a lot of sweetness to this beer, in fairness. I find this one kind of sort of more leaning towards the kind of straight up malt rather than the smoother oats or the bitier wheat. This one feels a little bit more kind of pale malty and almost bready, to be honest with you. So it is a little bit more of a kind of bready leaning New England IPA for me, this one. I found that in a couple of beers recently, come to think of it. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, it leans towards the kind of smooth, tropical side of things, and that kind of suits the other elements you've got to the beer. It suits the kind of breadiness that the beer has, and I would say that overall on the green side of the hops, the flavour leans a little bit. It has got some more floral notes towards the back of the tongue and with the earthiness, but for the most part I find this one is a little bit more kind of grassy leaning, and again, it just all fits together really very nicely. So a thumbs up from me on this one. I like how this goes together, yeah, they've done, Cloudwater have done a solid job on this one. This is a solid core range beer, and yeah, I do look forward to trying a few others from the core range as well. So maybe I need to see about sorting out a few more Cloudwaters and Tracks and Marbles and things like that. I definitely want to review a few more of those at some point, so I need to see what I can sort out in that regard. But yeah, solid beer this one, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed my take on it as well. Definitely more of a bready leaning, grassy leaning and soft tropical leaning New England IPA for me. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Cloudwater Brewing Company. Go and check out my English friends in the beer tubing scene as well, and hopefully you can see some more Cloudwater's beers reviewed on the channel here over the next little while. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one is simply called IPA from Cloudwater Brewing Company in Manchester in England. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, skål, cheers.